Okay guys, so in this video today we're going to go to the Quiz 9 talk. So that's the quiz we took the Friday before Thanksgiving break. So first of all, if you have version B, this is number 8 and number 6 for 1 and 2. So it says Katie's cat Miller ran onto the roof of her house. Katie ran into her garage and grabbed a 16-foot ladder. So I'm going to draw this the way that for every phrase it's here. So 16-foot ladder, don't we normally lean ladders? The answer is yes, we do, right? And it says her roof is 13 feet tall, right? So our 13 feet would go here. And obviously the house would be square, right? So notice that we have two sides of a triangle, and so we're gonna use Pythagorean's theorem. So we're going to use a squared plus b squared and set that equal to c squared. Hopefully all of y'all know that this is c because it's our hypotenuse, right? And it doesn't matter whether we label the 13 a or b, but then it says how far would Katie need to place the base of the ladder from the base of the house? Base of the ladder, base of the house, right? So this is the distance we're actually looking for, okay? So then we're going to make one of these a and one b. So we're going to make this our a and then we're going to make this our b, okay? So we're going to say 13 squared plus our x squared is equal to our 16 squared. So 13 squared is 169 plus our x squared, and this is 16 squared is 256. So then we're going to subtract the 169 from both sides. So that means x squared is going to be equal to 87, and aren't we just going to take the square root of that? Yes, indeed we are. So that's how we get that x equals 9.3, okay? So our next one says, given that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, AC is 63, DE is blah, blah, blah. What is the length of DF? So we're going to map these letters, okay? That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go AB maps to DE, right? So we're going to say AB over DE. And then, so we got our AB and our DE, and then we got our AC, right? So we got first, last. So that was AC on top and first, last, DF on the bottom, right? So this is what I would do first to map these letters to letters, okay? So then we're just going to fill in what these values are, and we're going to cross multiply. So AB is 3.7, DE was 2.9. That's going to be equal to our AC, which is 6.3, and then we're going to solve for our DF, right? So this is going to be 3.7 DF is equal to 2.9 times our 6.3, right? And when I multiply 2.9 times 6.3, we got 3.7 DF is equal to 18.27. Then we're going to divide both sides by that 3.7, right, to get the DF by itself. So DF is actually equal to 4.9. Our next one says, given the following figure is a square, what in the diagonal is 30 centimeters, what's the perimeter? So this is our diagonal. We are given that part, right? And it says perimeter. Do you know that perimeter means the distance around an object, right? Okay. So first of all, you should know that a square has 4 right angles, yes? And that the diagonal of a square, because the squares are rhombus, bisects those angles. So this is 45 degrees up here, and this is 45 degrees right there, okay? So that means this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle, right? And we have one formula for that. That's H is equal to L square root of 2. We also know that all 4 of these sides are congruent, right? So all of these are L and L and L and L. So hopefully you can tell that the 30 is the hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. So we're going to say 30 is equal to L square root of 2. So we're going to then have to divide both sides by the square root of 2, aren't we? So we're going to divide both sides by the square root of 2 because we're trying to get that L by itself, but we cannot leave a radical in the denominator, agreed? So that means we got to multiply by the top by the square root of 2 and the bottom by the square root of 2. And hopefully by now that you've seen a pattern that is emerging with this value under here, but I'm going to show you what it is nonetheless. So this on the top is going to be 30 square root of 2 over the square root of 4, right? What's the square root of 4? 2, exactly. So this is going to be 30 square root of 2 over 2. And then that 30 can be divided by that 2, right? So that's going to be 15 square root of 2, and that's going to be equal to our L. But how many sides do we have? 4 of them, right? So we're going to have to take that, and we're going to have to multiply this value times 4. And 4 times 15 is 60, so that's why it's 60 square root of 2. All right, this next one says, given the following figures a rectangle, solve for the side lengths of BC and CD. So in this one, I notice, okay, I know that with a rectangle that this has got to be a right angle, right? So if that's true, then the other angle has to be 60 degrees up here. So now I know that this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, yes? So we have two formulas for 30, 60, 90. We have that h is equal to 2 times the short leg. We have that the long leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. So now let's label what we see. So it looks to me like this is a short leg, yes, because it's opposite the 30-degree angle, and this is our long leg, and this is our hypotenuse, right? So because we're given the hypotenuse, we're going to use the hypotenuse formula first. So we're going to say 12 is equal to 2 times the short leg. We're going to divide both sides by the 2. So our short leg is equal to 6, right? So I'm going to put my 6 back over here, and now we're going to use that to find our long leg. So wait, actually pause, let's pause. So CD, this is CD, isn't it, y'all? CD is equal to 6. So it can't be that answer, and it can't be that answer, right? Now, we're going to now plug that short leg into the formula for our long leg, right? So the long leg formula is L is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3, right? So that is what equals what? BC, right? BC is equal to 6 square root of 3. Now, I could have also eliminated the answer D because it has a square root of 2, and an answer is never going to have a square root of 2 in it for a 30, 60, 90. All right, so the next one says, given triangle PQR is similar to triangle GHJ, which ratio is proportional to tangent of H? Well, I don't have any angles in the second triangle. So I want to look at what is similar to, I don't know why that moved, but we'll move it back. Okay, so I want to see what's similar. So I know the H is corresponding to Q, right? So I'm going to look at angle Q over here. And what does tangent mean? Tangent means, wow, tangent means opposite over adjacent, right? So what is the side that's opposite? That would be 8. And what is the side that's adjacent? That would be 15. So that's why the ratio is 8 over 15. So this next one, number 6, is a 45, 45, 90, right? So these angles are congruent. That means these sides are congruent. That means this is our L, and this is our L, and this is our H, right? We only have one formula for a 45, 45, 90. It's H is equal to L square root of 2. So we're going to put that H in the problem. So that's going to be 8 equals, and we got an X here, square root of 2. So remember again, now we got to get rid of that square root of 2, right? So we're going to divide both sides by the square root of 2 here. So now that's gone from there. So we have X equals 8 over the square root of 2, but we can't have a radical in the denominator. Do you remember that? So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. Once again, we have the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 on the bottom. So that's going to be 8 square root of 2 over what? The square root of 4, right? Hopefully all of y'all can see that that's always going to end up 2 down there. So this is going to be 8 over the square root of 2 divided by 2. And what is 8 divided by 2? Y'all see this relationship right here? So that's why the answer is 4 square root of 2. All right, so the next one says a cable supports a 10-foot telephone pole holding it perpendicular to the ground. So we got a 10-foot telephone pole, and it's perpendicular to the ground, so we know there's a right angle there. If the cable forms a 60-degree angle to the ground, so that means there's a 60-degree angle there, right? How far is it from the cable, where the cable connects to the ground to the telephone pole? So we're actually looking from where the cable touches the, right there. We're looking for that, right? So this is going to be a 30, 60, 90 triangle again, right? So that formula, and we have, this is the long leg because it's opposite the 60-degree angle. And aren't we looking for the short leg? So we're going to use the L formula. L equals S square root of 3. And we can now plug in what we know, right? So our long leg is 10, and that's equal to x square root of 3. So can't we just divide the both sides by the square root of 3 here? And when we divide 10 by the square root of 3, we get 5.77. So that's what the answer is. Okay? Now this next one, it says, are the triangles congruent? If so, which statement is correct? So we have a pair of shared sides, so those are congruent, right? So don't you see JK is congruent with KN? One tick, and then we have JA is congruent with NA, 2 ticks, and then we have the center. Now look, you can't choose HL here because it does not have a right angle symbol in the problem, and we can't choose HL unless we see that there's a right angle symbol. So this next one says, find x and give it the answer in simplest radical form. So we're going to use, again, a squared plus b squared. That equals c squared. And we're going to label this c because it's the hypotenuse, right? Doesn't matter which of these we make a or b. So we're just going to make that one a and this one b. So we're going to say x squared plus 4 squared is equal to 8 squared. So that's going to be x squared plus 16. It's thinking is equal to 64. Subtract the 16 for both sides. So x squared equals 48. Now, hopefully all of y'all can see that this is obviously divisible by 2, right? So we divide 48 by 2, we get 24. We divide 24 by 2, we get 12. We divide 12 by 2, we get 6. We divide 6 by 2, we get 3, right? Now we're looking for pairs of numbers, okay? So we got a 2 and a 2 there, and that's a 4, right? We got a 2 and a 2 there, and that's another 4. Notice we got the same number again, right? So we've got a 4 and a 4. So what is 4 times 4? Yep, square root of 16. And then what do we have left over down here? A 3. So the square root of 16 times the square root of 3. What is the square root of 16? That's 4. And then this is the square root of 3. So if you know it's an even number, then it's easiest to just go ahead and start dividing it by 2. Okay, and look for your pairs of numbers. That's really the key. So this next one says find ST. So I'm going to put an X here, and then we're going to label these what they are. So that's our hypotenuse, right? That's our hypotenuse, and isn't this adjacent because it touches the angle? It's not opposite the angle, but it's adjacent to it. Now, what ratio uses A and H? Yes, cosine. So the cosine of 27, we're going to do cosine of the angle, is equal to the adjacent, which is 5, over our x. Now, what do we do with the x and the 27? They swap places, don't they? Okay, so we change flip, right? So we're going to keep the top, we're going to change the bottom, and we're going to flip the other. So we're going to say x is equal to 5 divided by the cosine of 27. And when we do that, we get 5.61.